series here in a moment. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome to the stage the mayor of Boise. Please welcome His Honor, Mayor David Beater.
Thank you, folks. Welcome to the helmet hair capital of the world right now today, I think, isn't it? Let's first of all give a big round of applause for everybody that makes this happen. Come on, you VIP people. Come on. Give it up. George's Cycles, ASWB, everybody that makes this happen so we can come out and have fun. And this announcer, let's give it up for this guy, Lewiston native, best announcer around. So, folks, this is just what makes this city great. Everybody coming out, having a good time, celebrating these great athletes, and having fun. So that's all I'm here to say. Keep riding your bike. Keep pushing for more bike lanes and more places to ride your bikes. Give it up for that. We're like third or fourth in the country for most bike riders. Let's be number one in the next few years. Thank you very much. Have a great night. We'll see you next year, too.
His Honor, David Beater.
Hello and welcome everyone to Boise, Idaho as we get ready for the fourth race of the USA Crit Series. My name is Frankie Andreu as we're located in downtown Boise, right in front of the Capitol. And you can see our pro women lined up as we get ready for the 31st annual ASWB Twilight Criterium. Big thank you to the title sponsor, the law offices of Anderson, Schwartzman, Woodard, and Brailsford, and also the merchants and members of the Downtown Boise Association and George's Cycle and Fitness. Big community event. You can see on the inside of the course or the outside of the course, depending on which way you're looking at, right across from our Capitol is our Twilight Fan Expo in the Capitol Park, where they got a ton of food events and beverages and cool treats, awesome booths from supporting vendors. Very much a local community event here at the Boise Twilight Criterium. Just down the street, about a couple miles, is the Boise State University. 25,000 students, and I'm sure there's a lot of nervous freshmen getting ready to go over there. Very excited to be able to probably step foot on that famous blue turf in the Boise State University football stadium, the home of the Broncos. Now, the riders are not going to have an opportunity to be able to step on that blue turf, but they are going to have some repaved pavements, a little bit smoother, a little bit faster, which is going to make the race a much quicker and more comfortable for many of the riders getting ready to race. Women are going to be doing 60 minutes starting at 7 p.m., and our current race leader in the USA Crits race is Peta Mullins. And Peta Mullins has been on a tear all year, and there's a great picture of our Capitol here in downtown Boise. Peta Mullins has been winning a ton of races this year. Currently the USA Crits leader, taking the overall at Speed Week and 3 stages at Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Natural State. The list goes on. But Peta Mullins, racing for Haggensburger Superman, is not here. Currently in second place is Tiffany Pizzulo. And because of that, Tiffany Pizzulo picks up 50 points, as all of the riders do on the start line. 50 points for her. And so our new race leader in our USA Crit Series is Tiffany Pizzulo. Now, Tiffany Pizzulo is also our current lap leader from the Cycling News lap leader with 9 points, or 9 laps, I guess I could say. Second place right behind her is Erica Aller in 6th. And so a close fight in the lap leader competition, depending on how this race plays out. If anybody gets into a break, it could change a lot of different things. Waiting for a little bit before we get into our rider introductions. You just saw the Mayor, David Beater, speaking a little bit about the number of cyclists in the area and the number of bike paths that are in the area. Boise has 190 miles of trails in the Ridge to Rivers trail system. Ton of cycling and mountain biking. Now, Tiffany Pizzulo from LA Sweat is on the front, our current lap leader, as I had mentioned. She's actually our 2015 overall USA Crits champ. She was 3rd at this race in 2015. Now, Ali Dragoo, this is very interesting, racing for Show Air 2020, and they are representing, supporting Mission 43, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Racing for Cervelo Bigla, racing in Europe all year long, has come back to be able to join Show Air 2020. But that is our 2015 Boise Twilight Criterium winner, Ali Dragoo. Shannon Miller, racing for Canyon Bicycle Shimano. first in the Desert City Criterium, but more importantly, she was our 2016 winner in the category 2-3-4 race. So a big jump up to this pro level, trying to be able to double up and become a 2016 and 2017 champion. Also, she's the current Idaho State Criterium champion. We see rolling up to the line Erica Clevenger from Visit Dallas ENA. She's out of Tucson, Arizona. Current collegiate national road champion, second in the collegiate national time trial championships. So Erica Clevenger on Visit Dallas DNA. Abby Youngworth, junior team on the Show Air 2020, a very young rider. She's actually a local. She's from Boise, Idaho, as one of the most famous cyclists, women's cyclists, or even cyclists in the world, Kristin Armstrong, multi-gold medal Olympian from Boise, Idaho. But the junior riders first won a stage at Seattle in the 15-18 age group and second in her national criterium championships. As right now coming up is Heather Albert, racing for Eagle ID Canyon Bicycles Shimano. Just recently fourth at the Idaho State Road Championships. 2016, she was the winner of Tour de Sol. Another local rider is Heather Albert. And Lisa Racchetto, coming up, Haggis Berman Supermint, the teammate to Peter Mullins, who's our current USA Crits leader. Second at the Bariano Road Race, and in 2016, she actually rode the Women's Giro d'Italia. So Lisa Racchetto on the front line, which is the perfect place to be able to start this race. Nothing special about the criterium. Four-corner, rectangle course, two long straightaways, plenty of room to be able to pass, plenty of room to be able to move up. Last year, I remember most of the difficulties pretty much came in turn number one. My name is Frankie Andreu, and we're bringing you live pictures. Our cameras are actually all in Boise, bringing you the live pictures. Myself and the director, we're actually in Georgia commentating on the race. And so it's a definite, an alternative to having everybody out on the race course, a little bit cheaper way to be able to bring live web stream coverage, which could be the future for many of the cycling events and the criteriums throughout the nation. It's going to make it more accessible to be able to bring the TV images or the internet images to anybody who wants to see any of the criteriums anytime throughout the U.S. Well, as I mentioned last year in 2016, Sam Schneider taking the win from a breakaway, actually in a breakaway with Kristin Armstrong. There was about 6 riders that separated. Sam Schneider coming out on top. McCutcheon was in second. Christina Goki-Smith in third. 2015, Ali Dragoo on the front line, right now riding for Show Air 2020 after doing a half a year of racing all over Europe with Cervelo Bigla. And 2014 and 2013, the race was won by Erica Aller. And we have to go back to 2012 when McGrath won here. And 31st year, as I had mentioned, for our ASWB Boise Twilight Criterium. And things are underway. Race number 4 of our USA Crit Series. Riders are going to take a couple laps to be able to figure out what kind of speed they're going to be able to tackle the corners. And I had mentioned there are parts of the course that definitely were repaved. So it's going to be a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker, and faster as we have our riders out on course right now. Not a large field, as you can see right there, as we have approximately about 35 riders in the race. Visit Dallas DNA Pro Cycling has 6 riders. Colavita Bianchi with 4. Haggis Berman Supermint with 5 riders. LA Sweat with 5 riders. Show Air 2020 Ride Biker, 7 riders, or 6 riders, excuse me. And then there's a couple individuals from Canyon Bicycles, Shimano, Jam, NCC. Caitlin Antoneau is here by herself out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, from the Silence Pro Cycling team. So we're talking about Boise being a great place, ton of mountain biking, ton of trails in the Ridge to Rivers trail system. Cyclists can ride trails along 25 miles of the Greenbelt Pass along the Boise River that cuts right through the heart of downtown Boise, up to the foothills, and all the way to Bogus Basin Ski Area, or even all the way to Lucky Peak Reservoir. Right now we see the riders coming through. LA Sweat patrolling the front, trying to keep their riders in a good position. Starla Tetagreen, Starla Tetagreen is on Hagens Berman Super Mint. Lisa Rechetto I had mentioned, who had got called up to the front line, but Tetagreen is probably their sprinter that is here for the Hagens Berman Super Mint team. Taking over the lead because at the start, all the riders get 50 points. Every lap that is led, you get 1 point. So the lap leader, like as I had mentioned, could change. Right now, that lap leader is Tiffany Pizzula. So she's going to be keeping that in the back of her mind and paying attention to that. But with the 50 points awarded to each of the riders that took the start, our new race leader is Tiffany Pizzula overall in our USA Crit Series. Looks like our first attack now coming down on our left-hand side of the screen. They've done 2 laps, 5 laps in. We have our intermediate USA Crits points. That'll be awarded 5 places deep with 10, 7, 5, 3, and 2 points. See the ringing of the bell for a preem that'll be coming up. Last year the women's race took, there was kind of a breakaway, maybe the first 10 minutes in. It was very aggressive racing. 3 or 4 riders getting away at certain times, 5 or 6 kind of going back and forth. It took at least 2/3 of the race before the final breakaway finally was established with about 7 riders, and which is a relatively large group considering there were only 30 riders in the race. 7 riders separated. They stayed away for the last 10 laps, and it came down to the sprint that Sam Schneider was able to win pretty comfortably, racing for IS Corp. So as a reminder, the reason Peter Mullins took the lead or took the win in Athens Twilight Criterium, Rebecca Wasik was in second, Tina Pick in third, and at Winston-Salem, it was Sam Schneider, Erica Allar, and Lizzie Williams. And so 2 races have been completed as the 3rd race in our USA Crit Series for our women as Visit Dallas DNA now is on the front. I believe that might be the bell ringing right now for our USA Crits points, which should be coming up. Again, every lap led, you receive a point, and our USA Crits points come at 5 laps into the race, mid-race, and 5 laps before the end of the race. Of course, at the end, 200 points to the winner, 190 for second, 180 for third, and so on down the line. So really the bulk and the award of those massive points do come at the finish. Many of the complications and problems that did occur last year, crashes in the women's race and in the men's race, all came on turn number 1. That seemed to be where they were flying. Maybe, I don't know if they were going the fastest, if it was a little bit more narrow, but turn number 1 definitely was the crux of many of the crashes that many of the riders experienced. Show Air 2020 on the front. Abby Youngworth, we talked about, who was called up on the junior team, racing in the 15-18, 15-16 junior division, so only 16 years old, racing with the pro women. And we had talked about a little bit, Kristin Armstrong, definitely a staple of cycling in this community, a hero out of Boise with a 3-time gold medalist in the Olympics in the time trial. She'd retired a few times and came back, and well, we know what's coming up when the next Olympics are coming up, as Show Air 2020 is the name. Previously, its team was Show Air 2016. And a little bit about Show Air 2020. So they're supporting Mission 43 at this race here, which is a partnership of J.A. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation, designed to give veterans from Idaho the resources for personal growth and opportunities to contribute to the community. So Show Air 2020 linking up with supporting Mission 43. And they brought in some firepower, because I have to say I was very surprised. Ali Dragoo talked about being on Show Air 2020, has signed on with the team for the rest of the year. I thought maybe she was just guest riding, coming off of racing a full year with Cervelo Bigla. She used to be on Show Air 2016, and now has come over to be able to come back to the U.S. We've seen that common with many of the riders, including Peter Mullins, who spent with Wiggle Honda 3 years racing over in Europe. So bell ringing, I believe, next lap. This will be our point sprint. We have 3 riders now attacking, going off the front. Some riders sitting in the back, very comfortable, not stressed out. Again, talked about the long straightaways, very simple. A little bit over a kilometer is the race course. 4 corners, a rectangle, not a lot to deal with, not very technical. Plenty of room to be able to move up, plenty of room to be able to actually form a chase. If you have a strong team, this is a course that you can chase very well on, and that might come into play a little bit later on, depending on the numbers of the riders on certain teams, meaning LA Sweat or Hagesbermer Supermint, Colavita Bianchi, Show Air 2020. Riders that have 5 or 6 riders on their team are definitely going to have an advantage a little bit later on, and they're going to be paying attention to make sure a brake does not go up the road that doesn't contain them. 31st annual year for the race, so that is a long tradition of bike racing here in downtown Boise. Now the Boise Twilight Criterium is part of USA Cycling's Pro Road Tour also. It's the 12th race in USA Cycling's Pro Road Tour. You can see on the front right now, that's Jessica Serra. Hagens-Berman Superman, excuse me, it's Show Air 2020 on the front, and just did a sprint. Everybody's kind of catching their breath and kind of relaxing a little bit right now. One of the series of parks that's right near downtown Boise is the Boise River, which is the Whitewater Park. Boaters and spectators have discovered the fun of surfing on the waves at the park, developed by the city and the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation. The Whitewater Park is just a little bit more than a mile west from the Criterium Racecourse. Has 2 state-of-the-art wave shapers, and that is the highlight of the Whitewater Park. Something many of these riders, if they come in a few days early or even stay a few days after, there's plenty of opportunity to do a lot of different activities in Boise. So Hagens-Berman Supermint on the front, looks like might be a rider from LA Sweat, or Colavita Bianchi, excuse me, sitting in 2nd place. Tara Cole riding on the front right now, controlling the pace of things. So as Tara Cole sits on the front waiting to see if anybody's willing to go by her. She just came back from USA Cycling Pro Road Nationals and the Pro Time Trial Nationals. Large community event. You can see the spectators on both sides of the course. I had mentioned on the inside is the Twilight Fan Expo. That's inside right there, inside Capitol Park, which is directly across from the state capitol as the riders get ready to go by right here, right in front of the steps. You can see the picture of the Capitol right there. A lot of supporting vendors and local cycling groups are in that expo area, along with food trucks and beverages. You can get treats. Many of the riders hang out in there after the race, trying to get something to eat or drink, especially the women, because then the men's race is following up a little bit later on. Our men's race is coming up, and they're going to be racing at 8:15 p.m. for 90 minutes. Our women's race, they're scheduled for 60 minutes of racing, and they started at 7 o'clock. Another set of criteriums going on right now is Intelligentsia Cup in the Chicago area. So some riders are racing over there, other riders are here, and many of these riders are actually getting ready to be able to, after this race here at the ASWB Boise Twilight Criterium, is to move on to the Cascade Cycling Classic. Totally different type of race with the road racing of the Cascade Cycling Classic, the time trial and the road race. Hilly, very hard, demanding, and so many of these riders deciding to get some more racing in, searching for racing wherever it is, and so a fantastic event like Boise definitely draws some of the best riders in the nation as they're making their way over towards Cascade.
Camera 4, same thing. If you can zoom in on your end too, that'd be great. Ready, 1. Ready, 1. Take 1.
So I guess that means Georgia Cycles $50 is going on the line. Attention riders, attention riders.
$50 premium on the line right now as the bell is ringing. Really haven't seen the sprint that we're looking for yet. Trying to see if who has the speed, or maybe everybody's trying to protect themselves and not show off that speed. $50 on the line could change that, as Ali Dragoo is the one rider sitting in second. Having a successful spring campaign, winning a stage in a stage race in Germany. Right now, just waiting to see if how that sprint is going to play out. And
It's the best venue for fans. $50 cash to the leader of this lap. There's $50 cash on the line. The first person who crosses that black line puts $50 in her pocket.
$50 now. Dragoo taking third, looking perhaps to counterattack. That was won by Brenna Rice Simpson from LA Sweat, taking that $50. Small gap, but that's being marked immediately by Colavita. She has her arm up, actually raising her hand up, looking for some help. The rider right now, trying to get some of her teammates to come up to the front from Colavita Bianchi, but again, the front three slowing down a little bit, waiting to see the counterattack as it goes on the right-hand side. Gap starting to form in the back as the pace is picking up, especially from the sprint, which brought the pace up to a high level. Then the counterattack, which didn't allow anybody able to catch their breath and kept it strung out.
The winner of the point on that lap was rider 23, Jennifer Valenti from Show Air 2020 Ride Finder. Jennifer Valenti is world champion.
Brenna Rice Simpson still riding on the front. Four riders from Visit Dallas DNA now all in one line. They're starting to get into formation.
Through that 16-lap distance in the shortest period of time, Jennifer Valenti has been a world
Michelle Drummond,
with the rest of her
Anne-Marie Rook, Erica Clevenger, who we talked about in the call-up, Hannah Mugi, and Mandy Heights, and Claire Rose. Claire Rose, a very powerful rider, winning the Criterium at the Redland Cycling Classic, a very fast Criterium. She went away solo and held everybody off. Now looks like a move from Show Air 2020 on the inside. Oh, going around two riders from Visit Dallas DNA, and so Show Air 2020 moving into that third spot. Combination of three of the strongest teams in the race right now, all on the front.
You're second in a road race, third in a time trial. So that's something you can get done in every one of the disciplines.
Nobody willing to be able to let anybody go up the road is, again, our lap leaders are counting every lap that they can cross that line first, picking up a point. So Visit Dallas DNA marked a Show Air 2020. Michaela Drummond right now on the front.
We've got Claire Rose of Great Britain on that team, and Claire, number 6,
Two riders counterattacking each other right now. LA Sweat on the right-hand side. On the front, Visit Dallas DNA. So the strategy and tactics starting to kind of play out that Visit Dallas DNA wants to be able to break this race apart. Claire Rosen right now, the rider on the front.
Find out on the front as they come through this time. Probably time for us to ring that preem bell again.
A lot of preems here at the Anderson, Schwartzman, Woodard, and Brailsford. The law offices, the partners bringing you the Boise Twilight Criterium. Another $50 as Whitney Allison from Colavita Bianchi leads the charge on the front, but everybody is on their wheel. These attacks have not been enough to be able to establish a gap. Perhaps taking a little bit longer, but look how it's getting strung out. The field definitely is starting to lengthen, starting to string out, so it's only going to be a matter of time until those gaps start to open up. Nobody's going to want to close those gaps, and we might see a split coming up in just a little bit.
Here they come for $50 from Jesse Sandoval.
$50 on the line. Annie Mackey Foreman on the front.
We got the sprint going on. That looks like Heather Albert sprinting on the left. If I know Heather Albert, that's who that is. Dr. Heather Albert taking that.
Heather Albert taking that. That's $50 for her. Again, fourth at the Idaho State Road Championships recently, racing for Canyon Bicycle Shimano. Heather Albert now is trying to break things apart. Gaps, now you can see the gaps. There's one large gap, and it looks like a couple riders getting caught out. The rider in the front of that pack looking over her shoulder, trying to look for some help to see if anybody else will come by. A lot of coasting right there in the front. Many of the big teams have a rider in that first group of about 6 or 7 riders, so perhaps they have to decide, are they content with having one rider in 6 or 7, or are they going to want to be able to bring it back and have 2 or 3? LA Sweat on the front, Colavita Bianchi coming through, Visit Dallas DNA. We saw Show Air 2020 also paying attention, marking every single move.
Mission 43 provides a gateway to world-class veteran organizations.
About 20 minutes into this 1-hour race, coming across the line, taking the point for that lap. Rider number 3, that's her again, Erica Clevenger.
60 minutes of racing on tap. We're 20 minutes in. As a nice attack, and everybody on the wheel right now, not letting Clevenger get away at all. The rider out of Tucson, Arizona, the Collegiate National Road Champion, making her dig. And that's the problem. Once you win a Collegiate National Road Championships or any kind of national championships, you become marked. So in about 10 more minutes, we're going to have our mid-race sprint, our USA Crit mid-race sprint. 5 places on the line, 10 points, 7, 5, 3, and 2. After we get to that mid-race point, we're going to be able to turn over to laps, and so we're going to know exactly how much longer the riders have to be able to race for. But also, it's very important for the riders. The riders having the laps in front of them, it makes more sense than just going by time, because when you're racing, you lose that sense of time. You're not sure if you're racing for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20. You don't know how much time has gone by, but counting down those laps, you know exactly how much real estate you have to be able to cover, to be able to cross that finish line first. It is preem after preem here tonight at the Boise Twilight Criterium. It is non-stop. A lot of money to be made as Abby Youngworth coming through. Again, the junior rider, 16 years old. Second in her National Criterium Championships. She is from Boise, Idaho, so this has got to be such a charge to be able to race in front of her hometown crowd. Pace is slowing down. You can see him swelling across the road. It's all bunching up. It's a good indication that things aren't going as quick as it was, as they're taking a couple breaths to be able to try to recover. We've seen a good sprint from Heather Albert, but that's the only kind of big sprint that we have seen so far. Tiffany Pizzula sitting in, our 2015 overall USA Crits Championships winner. Currently the leader now with our USA Crits race. So she's going to be thinking about those big points that come near the end. Anna Grace Christensen from LA Sweat on the front right now. Sitting on the back, Tara Cole from Hagens Berman Supermint, waiting to be able to make a move possibly later on. Everybody all together right now as they're coming around, sprinting towards that sprint line. Preems mixing things up, stirring it up as more money on the line. I think that might be Emily Newsome on the front. Nice move here. This is a dangerous move right now. A hard, fast lap, a good sprint, established the gap. LA Sweat right now on the front trying to bring it back. In the middle is a rider from Show Air 2020. LA Sweat pulls off and now out of the saddle. Maybe Visit Dallas DNA, I think, marking this move. Now trying to get up to our race leader. There's the rider from Show Air 2020, stuck right in the middle.
And look at this, we've got a little bit of a gap. Things are starting to string out here. You know, when we say the riders are getting strung out, that doesn't mean that they are on LSD or any of those old drugs. It means single file, full tilt, boogie, Emily out there.
Only about a 5-second gap right now, as still have about 5 more minutes till our mid-race point. Looks like Emily Newsome out of Fort Worth, Texas. 34 years old right now, taking the Boise Twilight Criterium into her hands, grabbing it by the horns and trying to wrestle everybody off of her. Now we have an attack again. Again, there's a lot of teams in the field right now that have multiple riders that they can sacrifice to be able to do a chase. Ideally for Newsome, they'll have 1 or 2 riders come up, be able to join her, somebody from Show Air 2020 or LA Sweat or Visit Dallas DNA, establishing a 3-rider break, which would allow them to be able to get through the last 30 minutes of this race. And right now, that's exactly what's happening. Visit Dallas DNA bridging up. Show Air 2020 now, also with Annie Foreman Mackey making the move. Now, what kind of response are we going to get from the main field as Colavita Bianchi has managed to be able to shut it down with a counterattack immediately from Show Air 2020.
One of our Show Air rider 24, Annie Foreman Mackey.
Annie Foreman Mackey with her head down, driving it around corner number 1, right on the wheel. Brenna Rice Simpson from LA Sweat. Annie Foreman-Mackey right now on the front. Now the counterattack for the sprint. Show Air 2020. That bell just keeps ringing. It's money after money. It's raining cash on these riders right now in downtown Boise. Jennifer Valenti from Show Air 2020. Valenti on her own. She grew up out of Southern California. She's been around bikes her entire life, and right now she's trying to win this. A track cycling background, very smooth. You can see how smooth she's pedaling.
Because it's primarily an aerobic event.
Jennifer Valenti, a member of the 2012 Olympic long team.
There's Jennifer, followed by rider number 11. That's Starla Teddergreen.
Olympic silver medalist right now is Valenti on the front. Now, how much of a problem is this going to be, or is this going to be an asset as we see Starla Teddergreen, the sprinter from Hagens-Berman Superman, and she is quick. She's a very fast sprinter, and so Teddergreen not the ideal companion to be able to get mixed up with Jennifer Valenti. A good time trialist up there with Valenti. Valenti, four-time in the Team Pursuit Elite Pan American champion, a five-time UCI Track World Cup medaler, and a six-time Elite Track National champion. So the track background definitely playing a part with that explosive speed that she is showing here in our ASWB Boise Twilight Criterium. If you're just joining us, I'm Frankie Andreas. We're showing you live pictures of the fourth race of the USA Crit Series, the 31st annual Anderson, Schwartzman, Woodard, and Brailsford Boise Twilight Criterium, as three riders, excuse me, are off the front right now, trying to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. It's been a lot of preems, a lot of bell ringing, which has been great for the riders, but that is starting to take its toll as now that fatigue is set in, as we are just coming up to the halfway point. We're about 30 minutes into the racing, which means our USA Crit sprint points should be coming up pretty soon. 5 places on the line, 10, 7, 5, 3, and 2. Interesting Visit Dallas DNA riding on the front. It's a good move for Starla Teddergren. You see Ellen Noble from Colavita Bianchi just sitting in second place right there. Very, very comfortable.
Maybe just a couple of 3 seconds at the moment. There is a chase trying to bring her back. Valenti on the front. DNA Cycling trying to bring him back. That's rider number 2. Jenna Marie.
You know, DNA has no rider.
Tiffany Pizzula making the move, making the junction to make sure that she would get up there to be able to get maximum points at those mid-race points, but also she's wearing that blue Cycling News lap leader jersey. So Pizzula, number 18, number 23, and number 11. 11 is the sprinter Starla Teddergreen from Hagens-Berman Superman, and 18, no, it's not 18. Show Air 2020 is the rider that was up there. Visit Dallas DNA continues to ride on the front. As I had mentioned before, they have the numbers to be able to do something about this. 6 riders from Visit Dallas DNA. Caitlin Antonou, rider in the green and black helmet from Silence Pro Cycling, fantastic cyclocross rider. Now it looks like the rider's been brought back together except for 6, but they're kind of soft pedaling, so I believe the rest of the field is probably going to come up. And you can see looking over her shoulder is Jennifer Valenti. Parts of the course repaved, very smooth. Other parts of the course a little bit bumpy. You can see the rider's back wheels jumping around a little bit. Oh, a problem for somebody right in the middle of the road. I think it looked like one of from somebody's wheel might have gotten into the rear derailleur, causing some problems on that rider that had to stop in the middle of the road.
Engineers, cyclists, you name it. Learn more at micron.com/foundation.
So Visit Dallas DNA has been the aggressor. Now Show Air 2020 coming to the front. Ringing the bell again for a $50 cash premium for our riders as riders come through from LA Sweat. Anna Grace Christensen. See a nice overhead shot with some of the riders sitting on the back of the group, not very concerned right now. Handy Mintz from Visit Dallas DNA. So as a reminder, that rider that had a problem in the back, she can get a free lap. She'll be able to roll around to the pit, try to fix the problem, if it's a flat tire or if her derailleur got messed up. Be able to take a free lap and then get thrown back into the race. Be on the same lap as everybody else, no penalty.
And chasing down the opponents, they might be saved. They might be the quarterback, the designated race winner for their team.
And they don't want to be engaged in these inter-race sprints for $50 cash. That looked like rider number 4 on a move. And it looks like Kim Lucy of LA Sweat maybe
Four riders, maybe 5 starting to separate themselves. We see on the back, that's Heather Albert. She's already won a couple of the premiums. She might be thinking about how to win another one. Small problem right now is Jennifer Valenti on the front right now. Again, excuse me, that's Stephanie Rorda. Every time there's an crash with as 2 riders are going down. One of them, Heather Albert, overlapping a wheel and going down. Colavita Bianchi going right over the top of her as a crash right now. That's leading in towards turn number 4. Just a little bit of a lost focus there as Albert from Canyon Bicycle Shimano crashing with an overlap of the wheel. Rest of the riders now looking around, not sure really what to do, but $50 on the line and the attacks are coming. Hopefully those riders are all right. They're going to be able to get up off the ground. Antonou on the inside, patrolling on the front right there is Ali Dragoo. Sitting in second position. It was Show Air 2020 that attacked, and so Dragoo's not going to chase anything. She's going to sit. She just has to be careful on which of these riders is going up the road with them. Brenna Rice-Simpson from LA Sweat in the pink jersey is latched down. We have one more rider now coming up. So 3 riders now turning into 4 riders. Trying to tell them to stay on the inside as we're waiting to see if our riders are okay, as it looks like Albert being helped off. Hopefully just a bruise or a contusion and nothing broken as rest of the riders coming through.
Precious attack after attack. We got another rider attacking up on the left-hand side. Once again, it's Show Air 2020. Rider number 26. That's your former winner, Ali Dragu.
There we go. It's back. It's back.
Steph Reuter right now on the front, counterattacking. Well, riders starting now to split off the back. We're past the halfway point. Only 20 minutes left of racing as we switch to laps. So that's Ali Dragu on the front.
Now, something I don't know if they're Bianchi, numbers 7 through 10. Has that team been active in here, or are they just biding their...
Racing in Europe for 6 months, or the first part of the year. Racing for Show Air 2016 last year. Made the move to the World Tour women's team of Cervelo Bigla. Raced half of the year, but now has decided to come back and is racing in the United States. Re-signed, got onto the UCI team of Show Air 2020. So Dragu making her mark right now, and a lot of riders paying attention to that as Hagens Berman Supermint is on the front, trying to bring back our two race leaders. Anna Grace Christensen again on the front. Christensen coming off the North Star Grand Prix. That's a lot of miles in her legs, a lot of fitness right now. She's taking her chance. North Star Grand Prix, a combination of road races, crits. A lot of intensity to be able to get ready for being able to come out to the following and the next races. Spread out across the road now, taking a breather. Everybody waiting to see how this is going to play out.
Expo area is open. Get yourself something to drink. Rehydrate. Water bottles, water for sale. You might even get some free water at the Farmers Insurance booth. And check out beers, wine, and soft drinks at Pepsi. Pepsi's got soft drinks.
$50 cash to the leader of the next lap. $50 cash from Delta Airlines to the leader of the last lap. $50 cash. That was Tiffany Padula taking another point. Expanding her lead in the overall series.
Well, that's kind of funny going through. It's a tradition in bike racing, number 13, Lisa Racchetto, with her number turned upside down. Last year, Racchetto riding in the women's Giro d'Italia. Now you can see the combination. You can see the pink jerseys from LA Sweat. You can see Show Air 2020 in the blue, red, white, and blue. Visit Dallas DNA in the black jerseys. Kind of hard to differentiate between the Hagens Berman Supermint, which is black jerseys also, but definitely combination of these teams with multiple riders still in this race. 13 laps to go. Hagens Berman Supermint now on the front. Tara Cole controlling things, and as mentioned, Starla Teddergreen, part of that team, a very good sprinter. That could be somebody they are working for. Pizzulo also a very good sprinter, and so that's going to be a nice battle that could play out a little bit later on. For Show Air 2020, they might think about trying to break this race up and continue to attack. That was an attack just right there for $50. Now taking a little bit of a breather, so that rider in the blue jersey, we've seen her very aggressive also. That's Emily Newsom. Newsom out of Fort Worth, Texas, making a mark here in Boise. Downtown Boise is home to several large and growing companies. Kind of a city that keeps reinvigorating himself. One of the companies, J.R. Simplot Company, best known for providing French fries to the world, has been in downtown Boise for more than 40 years. Conagra Foods, Lamb Weston, Albertson grocery stores are all based not far from downtown Boise. Of course, the Capitol, state capitol, which we're racing around right in front of those Capitol steps. Big community event with Our Twilight Fan Expo taking place right on the other side of the Capitol in Capitol Park with the food vendors, get something to drink, eat, a lot of different vendors, local community vendors selling different things inside of Capitol Park as our riders continue to fly around the outside of them. We're going to see Jessica Mundy from Colavita Bianchi coming through. 6 riders now separating themselves. Largest break we've seen so far with the 6 riders now trying to go up the road. Well, if you're enjoying the stream, consider donating. There's a donate button on your screen. Click on that. Of course, those donations go to help providing the live web stream at many different events. Thank you to a couple of our regular fans for your donations today. We appreciate your continued support. And, of course, if you want to join up with that, being the fans and donating, we appreciate it very much because we were able to bring you more live streaming at more events throughout the year. Great races like this.
Offering service to 335 destinations in 62 countries on 6 continents.
Well, our break is up the road, but it isn't working right now. Billy Sweat Rider going through, but we got another rider coming up, rider 23, another rider, Tiffany Pizzulo, trying to bridge.
That race is just, that group is just continuing to swell. Emily Newsom was on the front right now, or there, and then now it's Brenna Rice Simpson. Dragoo's on the left-hand side. Looks like at least 2 riders from Show Air 2020. 3 more riders starting to come across. So as the bigger teams get a person represented in the front, then that's going to start becoming more difficult for the riders in the back because nobody's going to want to chase because they're all going to say, hey, I have somebody up there. Looks like a little look over the shoulder from LA Sweat. That was Brenna Rice Simpson trying to figure out who's coming up or who's not.
It had grown. There were 6. It had become 8.
Newsom looking over her shoulder, giving a signal. Little flickety elbow, trying to get Dragoo to be able to come through.
Keep this action going. The break has come back together. Attention riders.
That break is almost It's almost like the field is being split. I don't think it's coming back together. It's just being split up right now. So I believe Jennifer Valenti has made it into that group also. I think it's 7 riders. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's grown. Now it's swollen. It's more than 7. It's gone up to about 10. Valenti on the front. Dragoo is in this group also. Tiffany Pizzulo has made it up. That's the rider right there in the blue jersey. Our USA, I don't know if anybody's really been paying attention to the lap leader, trying to pick up a point every lap. Right now, they're focused on trying to win this bike race. Getting into the final laps, getting in the nitty-gritty of this race, still ringing that bell for different preems. Brenna Rice Simpson going across. Well, that's doing a forcing right now. Ali Dragoo to be able to do the chase. Big, big move right now here at our ASWB Twilight Criterium from LA Sweat. Wow, Dragoo bringing it back quick. Very strong on the front right now, seeing if any kind of counterattack, but look at how it's strung out in one line. All of these riders just trying to follow that wheel in front of them. Not a lot of movement from any of the riders after that big move. Counting 11 riders in that first group, and that is a large gap.
to go back. It's very handy. A lot of cities doing it now, from Minneapolis, Boise, I think Portland, Seattle. Check it out, Boise Green Bike.
$50 to the leader of this stop. That looks to be, and it is. That's Boise's own Liza catching $50 to the Hagen.
Ricciotto taking $50 as she goes across the line and keeping that moving forward. As I had mentioned, 11 riders in this break. Brenna Rice Simpson has made it into here. Now another rider from LA Sweat. This is Anna Grace Christensen. No surprise. It seems like the riders that have been attacking early on in the race have now made it up to the race. In that blue jersey in the back, Emily Newsom also has made the move. So all of the big teams with a rider in the front. Clevenger from Visit Dallas DNA. Collegiate National Roads Champion also in this move. Trying to think about how they're going to be able to take a flyer. And I know if they're going to take a flyer, if they don't have the speed or the sprint, I mean, Pizzulo is in this group, so she is dangerous. Got to time it pretty well, maybe with 2 laps to go. If you go with 5 laps to go, it might be a little bit too long, and then you have to, ideally, if you can get away by yourself. But ShoAir 2020 showing a lot of strength by chasing down the past 2 moves that have gone up the road. I believe they have 3 riders in the front. Gap right now is holding at about 20 seconds. Brenna Rice Simpson on the front right now. Looking at our list of our leaders right now, Ricciotto has made it. Pizzulo has made it. Jessica Mundy, Ali Dragoo.
Setting a new PR up, Bogus Basin are attacking the field at Twilight. Cliff Barr is here to help you perform.
Jennifer Valenti, Starla Teddergreen, also another good sprinter in that group from Hagens Berman Supermint. Erica Clevenger, Stephanie Rorda, Emily Newsom, Brenna Rice Simpson, and Anna Grace Christensen. So LA Sweat with 2, ShoAir 2020 with 3, LA Sweat with 3 also, and Hagens Berman Supermint with 2, and Colavita Bianchi. So Jessica Mundy by herself, that's the rider right there in the 2nd position in the green jersey.
This group is getting a field sprint. Chief referee wants this group out of the field. He's scared they're going to interact. Attention riders, 1, 2, go. 1, 2, go for this group. 1, 2, go. 1 lap to go for this group.
So they're ringing the bell lap for 1 lap to go for the chase group, not for the breakaway, to let them have an opportunity to be able to sprint. Gap is 40 seconds right now as we go back towards our race leaders. So main pack got the bell for 1 lap to go. They're going to sprint to be able to finish up their placings. Again, I had mentioned about 11 riders in that front group, which is right here. They still have a few more laps. LA Sweat with 3 riders in this group, and on the front we see a little bit of discussion going on. ShoAir 2020, and again, they're here representing Mission 43, which is a partnership of the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation. It's an organization designed to give veterans from Idaho the resources for personal growth and opportunities to contribute back to the community. So a really nice relationship and a partnership with ShoAir 2020 supporting Mission 43 here at the Boise Twilight Criterium. And what a move it would be if they were able to polish this off with a win. Now, Dragoo is strong. I mean, she could just take off. And Valenti, with that track background, definitely is going to be one to be able to think about saving it for the sprint. Looks like Dragoo right now, right as I had mentioned it, is on the front attacking, being marked immediately by pretty much everyone. Everyone has gotten onto that wheel. So Clevenger right now.
I have a feeling now they're going to be just watching each other.
Visit Dallas DNA. She's a rider in second position with the black jersey right now, following right behind Show Air 2020. Tiffany Pizzula on the left-hand side with the red and white helmet in the blue jersey, as see a rider from LA Sweat coming up and talking to her. They are teammates as Pizzula races for LA Sweat also, and so she could pick up 200 points here. That would boost her lead